Hello everyone, welcome and happy Easter to you. I need to fix my camera, but other than that, good afternoon. Oh, this camera. Every time. I think I just like have some kind of digital curse where Google Hangouts hates me, and basically I just have problems with the digital world. Anyway, there we go. Way too big. Way too big. All right. Let me get the game started. So today, we have a sort of a special show. I will be having Bugspray on. Let me just get this camera situated. Our CEO, lead developer, Bugspray. Gonna have him on for a little Q&A. And you know, there's a lot of stuff to go over. You know, our last QA was about 6 months ago. And so I just felt kind of it was time to kind of revisit that and kind of catch up with Chris, and you know, so you guys, viewers, can pose questions if you'd like. That's what he's here for. He's going to be here for about 45 minutes or so. And so in that time, feel free to come on, fire away, and find out the questions, the answers to the questions you want to know. Hello, Jordan, and hello, Sad Toy. Welcome to the stream, guys. How are you guys doing today? Any Easter plans? I got none. I'm boring. Oh, and I'm not wearing my Midair hat. What am I even doing? What am I doing with my life? What is life? What is life without Midair beanie? This is really... it's hard to know which way to go when you're looking on the camera. So I just kind of wanted to, you know, the main focus today is going to be talking with Bugspray, and just I was hoping just, you know, do some, I might do a tutorial speed run. I might try and get my tutorial speed run time, shave a few seconds off since it's terrible. Might get like a little pub going, a little TDM pub, but we will be bringing in Bug shortly. I just kind of wanted to get situated and give you guys a chance to settle down and gather around the fire, gather around the campfire. All right. Yep, we got an announcement in Discord and everything. And of course, I'm going to turn the music off. Just fire up Midair first before I hop in with Bugspray. Of course, get my hat on. It's I don't know what I'm going to do in the coming months, because it's heating up. Winter is over, I think, here, as it probably there's going to be a blizzard next week. But as far as I know, winter is over, and so this hat is going to be harder and harder to wear. But I'm going to wear it now, just for you guys. All for you guys. There we go, nice snug midair. There's nothing midair about this hat, it's sitting snugly on my head. Okay. Alright. Okay. Got my wings. I got Midair. Got my coffee. We got some people here. We got Dragon's Milk here. Hello, Dragon's Milk. Always a regular. I'm glad to have you. Hello, Nasty Hobbit, a Midair moderator and general awesome guy in the community. Hello, Chemdog, who many people pronounce Chemdog when they first met you, and he told me that I was pronouncing it right, so I've always been happy about that. Hello, Jester McPants. Welcome back. Hello, I am Bite. So I think it's high time I hop in. For some reason I can't see any of you in the chat list. So I'm sorry if I don't say hi to someone. It's just because I literally can't see you. Alright, so we're actually going to be in the same server together, and I'm going to hop in Discord now. Turn the music off. This awesome Midair soundtrack. Goodbye. Goodbye. Yellow.
Hey, you just jumped in as soon as I had a piece of toast and egg in my mouth.
I know I did that on purpose. It's all part of the plan. No warning. We're live. The unedited Bugspray. Because see, now they know that you're not a robot. Now they know that you eat like the rest of us. So see, it's all part of like
I consume food and water and stuff. Yeah,
yeah. You know, otherwise they think all you do is work on Midair. You know.
Yeah, it's I also consume sleep, which is in short supply now.
No, come on now. Don't be ridiculous now. Don't stretch it. You don't sleep. I know you don't. But
well, now I don't have a bunch of food in my mouth. Hey, everybody, glad to be here today.
Well, welcome. Please welcome Bugspray, aka Chris. He's the lead dev here at Archetype and kind of mastermind behind the game. So we had a Q&A about 6 months ago on this channel on midweek Midair, and that VOD is still up on our YouTube. I watch it occasionally. I share that VOD, but felt it was high time to check in again and get you guys questions answered and kind of give Bugspray a chance to kind of talk for himself and kind of discuss with you guys on his own level. So without further ado, welcome.
Hey, thanks, man. It's good to be here. I'm actually looking forward to kind of pubbing around in this deathmatch game too. I'm loving the new game type. It's a lot of fun, especially on Orbital in particular, because I get to use the blink pack. It seems to be a bit more effective on maps where you have kind of lots of places to jump to and stuff.
I've felt the same actually. I like the blink pack in TDM, and it's just like it's like a nice casual mode, and you know, it's kind of no strings, you know, not high stakes. You know, you can just kind of mess around. So yeah, I'm really happy about it too. But we could just kind of hop in here because there's already some questions flying for you. So if you don't mind, I will start with the first question from Nasty Hobbit.
Let's do it.
So question one: how hard would it be to make an LCTF version of maps like Dam?
You know, it's actually not too difficult to do stuff like that. It's a little more harder to go from, say, like light CTF or TDM to CTF. But going from CTF to the other game modes is a little less difficult. The areas that we kind of need to work on are things like, well, one, does it play good as an LCTF map? And then two, if we do want it to make an LCTF map, what are the map modifications we need to make? So you probably know from a couple of our maps that kind of double as CTF and LCTF maps that we can oftentimes block off entrances to keep flag play going, because, you know, LCTF is more about kind of being outside and doing cool cap routes and cool plays, and not so much about getting inside the base and turtling and doing all that kind of stuff, which is more of a characteristic of sort of those base games. So, you know, we need to kind of look at the map and say, hey, these are the areas we want you to be in, these are the ones we don't. Do we bring in or out the map borders and things like that? And it's just kind of we just kind of look at the gameplay as a whole and make some decisions on that. But in general, as far as, you know, the list of things that are difficult to do, it's one of the easier things to do from a development perspective.
The only issue I could see there is that there is no map called Dam, so I'm not quite sure what you're talking about.
Oh,
if you mean Reservoir, then yes, LCTF Reservoir, yes, I would like to see that myself.
Well, yeah, thank you for correcting me on that. Reservoir came out about 2 patches ago, and it was the remake of Dam.
Yes. I was actually correcting Nasty Hobbit, which I'm surprised that of all people, the man with the map gallery is the one. I figured he'd be on top of that. He'd be the first one.
Oh yeah, true. I actually love that. I'm now officially blaming Hobbit, which is something I do routinely.
I actually really like that map gallery, and I have it quoted in my forum signature. I think I wanted to do something the same, but he beat me to it. I think it's a great resource, so that I think I want to give that more visibility. And he says he's updating it now, so it's all good now. No hard feelings on the dam front. I'm glad Centauri isn't here though, because then he wouldn't like hearing that. Just kidding. So question 2: when is female voice pack? Also from Nasty Hobbit.
When is female voice pack? You know, with the voices and stuff, there's a lot of kind of moving parts with that, and actually we have a bunch of backer rewards designed around building voice packs. So we're sort of trying to tackle the backer rewards first, and then we're gonna move beyond that. So if some of the backers say that they want a female voice pack, it'll happen faster. We do want a female voice pack, we just don't have a specific ETA on it until we get through these backer voice packs.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Let's see. We have an I like turtles question, but I think I forgot the question mark, so it's not really a question. Question 4. I like how they've numbered this. This is really kind of cute. They've been numbering the questions for me. Question 4. Okay, that's not also a real question. How y'all doing today? Not a real question. Let's see. He's the main nerd. Bugs with the blink pack. They like your the blink pack though.
Oh, good. Yeah, we should switch to orbital. We'll get some blink going.
Let's do that.
Switch it on my end.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So I think those are the only sincere questions so far. Question 5, bees. Okay. I think they're talking about your beard now. I actually have a question. I have a few, but I don't want to I want to do them all at once. I want to like spitfire through them, but let me just pull them up. I made a whole spreadsheet and everything.
Yeah, no problem. We should play a little bit too.
Yeah, can't forget that. I'm bad at doing that. I'm ADD. Okay, so here we have. I guess my broad question. I mean, just is something to for you to kind of ponder on while we play. You know, so I did mention we did our last QA about 6 months ago, but like since then, how do you feel the game has changed? Like in a general sense, and in that regard, what has been the most challenging aspect of those changes?
Yeah, so I guess 6 months ago now would be...
I don't even remember. I remember Cluster Rail was still in, if that helps.
Yeah, well, that's honestly a September timeframe is what we're talking about, kind of, and that's when we hit early access. So what we're kind of talking about is like, what is the difference between early access and now? And by the way, I can't play and talk at the same time. I have like breathing and then one other thing that I can do, and that's about...
I'm telling you, I'm the same. I'm just kind of pretty much activating and deactivating my warden.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. So I'm actually gonna stop playing because I want to think about this a little bit. So the stuff that has changed most significantly, I'd say, is sort of the visual quality and capability for people to kind of branch out in the game. So if you look at like what we've done since closed beta, I believe we released 2 weapons now, and we might have a 3rd coming up, and we've added a bunch of maps, right? So we had Howling Spires on basically during our switch to Steam Early Access, so that was already out. But since then, we've added Tenebrous, we've added Crash Site, we've redone Outpost, we've added Orbital, we've added Reservoir. We've added a lot of map content, and actually a good high quality map content, not just like some simple reworks and things like that. Although Outpost and Crash Site kind of use some of the same bits and pieces from some of our other maps, they also still kind of have their own good, unique feel. So pretty happy about kind of where that's gone. I think people have seen a lot of bug fixes, UI improvements. Like I think a lot of this stuff's kind of coming together more as a game. A good example of this is if you joined in during early access, our inventory screen was this kind of like gray thing, and and it wasn't really that great looking. Like, it had all the functionality in there and had some of the basics of what we wanted to have, but it didn't have the kind of good feel and polish. Whereas if you go in and play right now, you see that we've got this like nice 3D scene, and you can rotate your character, and you can see your skins and all that kind of stuff. And skins is a good one too, right? It's another feature that we've been talking about and people have been clamoring for, and it's something that happens a little later in development, just because we want to get all the gameplay and we want to get all the good content in first, and then kind of roll out the way that we're monetizing. And so, if you look at the game, how it was before and where it is now, there's just so much more to do. There's so much more to see. So many different places to play on, and in general, the game just feels more like kind of a real game, so to speak, because we're getting all these polished elements in. Which isn't to say that there aren't more things we can improve on, but I'm pretty proud with kind of how far we've been able to go, and a lot of the stuff we've done is actually based off of your feedback, and like, I know we're working on a few design changes right now that are directly based on suggestions that we've gotten from the community that we thought were really great, really great ideas. So I guess that's kind of a long-winded response to that, but that's sort of how I feel about it, and I think we were at.
Yeah, as you were talking, I was kind of looking through what you were talking about, and I was looking at the main menu and like the rotating character and the skins, and I feel like the profile feature, like the leaderboards, like stat tracking, like that stuff, and I think just like a lot of quality of life things for me, at least, that I've felt have been really positive changes, and of course, like you were talking about the what's it called, the top user issues board, the Trello. I think a lot of the changes that have come from that, which are directly user supported, player supported issues, it's been really encouraging and positive to see them come into the game. Not even just for the sake of the changes themselves, but to to show like that we do take feedback seriously, and it makes real changes. So, yep, a little addendum, but I see where you're coming from with your response.
Yeah, totally. Actually, we do have a few of those top user issues slated for fix, hopefully by release. I mean, it's gonna kind of we're getting the last month here, so we're sort of flying by the seat of our pants in some cases. And as we kind of encounter critical issues, sometimes it makes less critical stuff kind of fall by the wayside. And when you're talking about a game release, there are a lot of critical issues that come up because games are really complicated to build, especially when you have a lot of interlocking systems like we do. So, as far as those top user issues go, if we have our way, we're going to be fixing several of those before we hit our final release. And when I say final, I don't actually mean final. I just mean version 1.0.
Right. Until we get to the 1. Oh, okay, let's see. I think we've had a couple more questions asked. So Cheesecake asks, are you folks going for releasing the game before implementing the back rewards, aka in-game Easter eggs, sprays, etc.?
Yeah, so as far as the back rewards go, we actually mentioned, I believe it was our last blog post, the blog post before, that some of the back rewards are going to be a little delayed until post-release. That wasn't our initial intent, but it's just kind of the reality of development at the moment. So we're working on them. We actually are actively working on them. We posted a concept of some skins that we're putting out for our Kickstarter backers, the exclusive armor set. So if you missed, I think it was the Reservoir blog posting, it was devlog 19 or something like that. We actually posted kind of current progress shots of the concept for the Kickstarter exclusive rewards. I mentioned that we're actually actively working on the voice pack designs and that sort of thing. And then we also have things like the sprays, which will be coming before release. So look forward to that. Things like the Kickstarter exclusive sprays will be ready to go. We're sort of just tackling the content as we can, and eventually you'll get all of the rewards. So have no fear about that.
Cool. So I guess Dragon's Milk was asking, and Dragon's Milk asked this, but I've seen other people ask it other places, and I think you have too. I think I've even seen you respond to people who asked it. Do we have any new marketing plans? Yeah, we do, and it's important to note. You know, a lot of people kind of get a little frustrated, I think, that we haven't done more to market the game up to this point. And I'll tell you the reason. We have these moments where we're doing big things, where we go do a bit of marketing, things like Kickstarter, things like releasing on early access.
and you've seen things like us go to PAX, or you've seen some articles come out with the press and that sort of stuff that correspond to these big releases. And given the resources we have, because we're a pretty small studio, we look at just the full-time people we have on staff, and we have like 6-ish. I think actually probably 5. I think at this point. And we have and not even all of those full-time people are paid. And then the rest of the team are kind of volunteers that jump in and help whenever they can, primarily because they just believe in what we're doing with Midair. And so, when it comes to things like marketing, it's not like we have this giant marketing budget we're sitting on or anything. But for the budget that we do have, we have to use it very specifically, like with purpose. We can't just throw out some Facebook ads because we want a short-term game of a few extra players during closed beta. Which is a little bit frustrating, I know, as a player, because you're kind of, like, well, hey, I jump on and I paid my money for this game, and I don't see a lot of people on. But the thing is, if we use all of that now, then we have less of an impact when we really need it, which is on launch, right? Because this is all part of the development of the game. We're still in early access. We're getting feedback and that sort of thing. And if we try to bring people in when the game's just simply not ready to have that many people, then that sort of does a disservice to the money that the backers have paid and all the money you guys have kind of put forth in making this thing happen. So we're trying to be good stewards of our funds and use it kind of tactically when it makes sense, not just because we're kind of afraid of having too few players a bit during release. And that's not to kind of downplay some of the frustration we've seen with it, but it's just kind of the reality and it represents the pragmatic decisions we have to make with our marketing budget. But so to kind of discuss a bit about what we're planning on doing. A lot of the success we've seen so far from kind of tests through Kickstarter and early access are kind of built primarily around what kind of press can we see, or can we get access to, and who will be interested. And so we spend a lot of time and effort every time we do a major release like early access or Kickstarter, writing emails to about anyone that we can. Actually, Jordan's here in the chat and he's here in the game. He and I spend, like weeks on this kind of stuff, like seeing who else we can reach out to and spending our time doing that. That's actually where we see a decent amount of pickup in particular. Also, when you release on Steam, there's some sort of innate marketing that happens with it. And Steam is growing as a platform, so it's kind of interesting to see how those benefits change for developers over time, because if you're Steam and before you had kind of Steam Greenlight, before that you didn't have Steam Greenlight, and it was just sort of manual selection of games that you thought were cool, and so when you're marketing those games and there's fewer titles, there's more opportunity for those games to get more marketing on the platform. And now what they've got is Steam Direct, which pay $100 and you can get your game on Steam. And the way they've sort of opted to shift is, instead of trying to make sure that everyone has that there are 15 minutes of fame for everybody on the platform, they're actually kind of having their platform focus on like enabling games to reach just the customers they think that are important. So we don't need to go advertise to everybody who's playing the latest Match 3 game. We really need to advertise to the people who are playing other first-person shooters or movement-oriented games, things like that. And so their platform sort of enables us to do that. So you'll probably see some things on Steam if you're within that category of player. You'll probably see some things about Midair. And then we've done some experimentation with things like ad spend on social media over time. And we've kind of figured out where we think the best platforms are to do that. And we'll be spending some amount of marketing budget on that sort of stuff. That doesn't say that all of our things are sort of like that isn't everything that we are doing from a marketing perspective. We're planning on working with things, with partners and folks that can give us some decent exposure. You've probably seen over time we've announced some of these partners. People like Origin PC are a great partner of ours. They helped us out during PAX West last year, and we have a great relationship with them. So folks like them, where we actually do have a good relationship with them. We can kind of provide something for them. They can provide something for us, and they're great supporters of ours. And by the way, if you need a good PC, they actually are a really solid PC manufacturer. So things like that you'll see more and more often as we get closer to release, in particular, and especially at release. So that's sort of again kind of a long-winded answer, but I assume you guys kind of appreciate the long-windedness because I'm trying to give a good amount of detail where I think is appropriate. And we'll be doing more beyond all that stuff. That's just kind of a couple ideas as to what we're going to be focusing on for release.
Yeah, I mean, it's when you have an open-ended question like that, I mean, you can't really give any answer but a long-winded one. I mean, marketing plans, there's a lot to say, you know. This one may be the opposite. Maybe there's not as much to say for this question. Nasty Hobbit asks, is the fighter movement finalized?
No, we're actually planning on doing a vehicle pass after release sometime, where we're kind of going to be tackling all the vehicle physics and kind of how they operate and their role in the game. So expect a decent sized update after we release on that stuff, because we have a big vision for the vehicles in base in particular. So I say stay tuned after release. There's more to come. With that said, I think there may be some tweaks coming down the pipe even before we hit release.
Awesome.
Nice, okay. Just to make pants, yes, I am using a G-Sync monitor, the ASUS VG248QE. I think it's like that. It's that 144 hertz one that everyone has. Cool00 asks, how do you want to grow the community this year except early access? I'm not quite sure.
How to grow the community this year except early access?
Yeah, I'm not sure what he means by
cool. What do you mean by accept early access?
I think you mean like, yeah, I'm not really quite sure about that. I think that probably falls under the marketing question. I think you kind of pretty much already answered that about how to grow it. I guess on my end, I can say that I'm going to have more events. I'm going to stream more. I'm going to try and my goal is to kind of have a catch to kind of get all, like, the new people that are playing, kind of make sure that they're not lost or confused or rage out. I kind of want to make that my personal responsibility to make sure that the people who do play stay playing. So I mean, I guess that's something. Have more events and more streams, and I've been personally reaching out to streamers and people, in other communities and friends and stuff, and I've heard other people doing the same. Just kind of get the word out there. Let's see. In terms, Cheesecake asks, in terms of budget, have you guys gone through the Kickstarter funds yet, or is there still a good backing of funds left? That's a very, in-depth question.
Yeah, so it's hard to tell you exactly if we've used all the funds, and I don't mean that as in like, oh, we don't know how much we spent. We absolutely know how much we spent. What I mean by that is the funds that have been available are a mix of things like Kickstarter funds, revenue from Steam, revenue from website sales after we left Kickstarter, and also investment from personal members on the team and things like that. So we really just have kind of a big pool of money, and if the question is, have we spent the $128,000 from Kickstarter or not, the answer is absolutely yes. Game dev can be rather expensive and time-consuming, and if you know anything about it, or even just like software dev in general, you know that $128,000 isn't a whole lot to be doing this for more than 6 months or something, right? And we've obviously been doing stuff since Kickstarter, which was in, I think we finished in like June 2016 or something like that. So we're coming up on almost 2 years since then. And one of the things we did with that funding and with all of our funding in general is really try to make sure that we have a consistent pipeline of content and features coming out for you guys in early access, and making sure that we're hitting all of our development goals. So the money has absolutely been super helpful, super useful. It has made the game what it is today. So if you backed us on Kickstarter or support us in early access, big thank you, because it's made all of this stuff possible. The game would be in a very different place if it weren't for that. And in general, like, I guess kind of finalize the answer, like, absolutely we've used that money, but we still have other funds from other sources at this point.
GGJ, the game, if you mean how do I get this, is in Midair. It's on Steam. You just go on Steam and search for Midair. You'll find it, the store page, it's on sale for $30 right now. as in not on sale, but like it's being sold for that amount right now. Yeah, if you like what you see, I definitely encourage you to come play with us. Mind distant convert. How big is the development team right now? Asks Clock Cat.
Yes, I answered this kind of implicitly earlier, but the dev team, if we look at like the total size, I think it's right around 20, 22, something like that. You know, we have volunteers that come in and out of activity, and it's not like we kick them all out or anything like that when they're inactive. But it's kind of a month-to-month calculation because of the nature of the volunteer work. We have, as I mentioned earlier, I want to say about 5 or 6 full-time folks, and I think 3 of those are paid at the moment. So like myself, I'm actually working on this full-time at the moment, but I'm not paid. And that sort of matters because even if you have full-time people, a lot of times they don't necessarily prioritize something they're paid for, that sort of thing.
Right. Oh yeah, someone saw that. Disable juice and get rid of your stuttering. Huh. Need more tutorials? Question, was there any progress on 30 versus 60 tick servers?
Any progress on 30 versus 60 tick servers? Can you be more specific on what you mean by progress?
Yeah, I think I remember someone asking that like a long time ago when there was a discussion about that. He says he experimented in Australia on 60 tick servers.
Oh yeah, that was something that we were doing with some of the beta guys, determining if that was part of the reason for some of the lag issues we had, and we ended up solving one of the lag issues that ended up not being that issue. That was a big user experience improvement and that sort of thing. So you can totally play 30 versus 60 tick servers right now. We don't really have that offering on places like Brand Zone just yet, but it's something that we can consider making for things like more competitive servers and stuff. It's not so useful for things like pubs where a lot of people don't really notice the difference on that. And in general, it does use more server resources, so we are having some issues with things like server performance that we're trying to fix before release. So we'll probably keep things to 30 ticks until we can reliably solve that problem.
Yeah, I actually, on just a server note, I noticed, I saw the feedback and kind of felt it myself on the new Swift node servers that kind of the performance has been seemingly like smoother, less erratic ping. I've heard other people say the same. I know it's a completely different topic than tick, but let's see. So, this is, I don't think this is a question for you, Bugs, but what tick rate were the Tribes Ascend servers? I don't think I have a question that I'd have no idea she's picked. I feel like someone in Discord would know though. Not even like I feel like I'm not sure that's a question for any Midair developer, but I guarantee.
Well, I mean, in general, it's really important not to worry too much about the numbers. It's really important to worry about the feel. A lot of people get caught up in the numbers and just do numbery things. And not really think about, like, does this actually feel better? And a lot of times there's a placebo effect where just because the number is bigger, like now suddenly you think it feels better, which is not what I'm saying Jester's talking about. I'm not saying he had a placebo effect. But it's better if we just get candid feedback about the feel of the servers when you're playing on them.
Right. So a question from me, yours truly. As of now, we're planning for a late April release, which is publicly been stated. But I guess between now and then, so basically in the next month, what are your primary goals?
So I guess the things that we're really focusing on during the next month, we have a little bit more content that we're coming out with, although we are not going to have as much content as you've kind of come to expect from the last couple patches. We're going to be focusing more on quality of life fixes, getting things ready to be scaled, and making sure that all of the features that we think are necessary for new players to have an enjoyable experience are ready to go. So that's where you're going to see a lot of our focus, because first impressions kind of mean a lot, and if we don't have, like if our tutorials are a little too rough, or people aren't guided through the right elements of our game to learn how to play in the best way, those are going to be areas we're going to want to improve on. We might not get to everything that we want, but we're going to try and do as much as we can there to make sure that people are having a good gameplay experience if it's their first time coming to the game. Because as much as we like to rely on just old FPSZ gamers, we definitely do need a healthy and thriving community.
For a dying breed.
I wouldn't say that we're dying.
Less and less of it.
Well, certainly when there's no actively developed game, then there's less and less of us over time. So hopefully Midair can bring some more light to jetpack shooters overall. Because once you play them, you don't want to play anything else.
It's very right. That's definitely true. It's prophecy right there. So let's see. Fictious asks. First, hello, Fictious. Good to have you, as always. Open beta scrapped? Question mark. Just going straight to release. Might have been our ask already, but I just arrived.
Yeah, so we decided that open beta would sort of take the wind out of the sails of a release if we made it free, and then all these people who might have signed up during release now sign up during open beta, and then if it's not ready in certain ways that really help new players get involved, then we're sort of, at least in our opinion, the reason I made the decision is we felt like we'd be kind of mishandling our opportunity to go free to play. So we decided, hey, let's just bring in all of our open beta backers into the closed beta, which is kind of a closed beta in quotes, because obviously anyone can go play the game and join it for free if you just pay the $30. But yeah, so we just decided to just say, hey, no open beta, we're gonna go straight to a free to play release and bring in all of our backers who thought they'd be getting in early and earlier. We did that during the winter sale, I believe.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the early access open beta participants. Okay, then I guess this is kind of a question that's aimed almost back at the us, the community members. Well, I guess we're all community members, but I guess more of the player base. Other than playing the game, how can we as a community help the game have the best release possible?
Yeah, great question. I think. Sorry, you said other than playing the game?
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, other than playing the game, yeah. How can we?
I mean, honestly, the biggest one is when release comes out, jump into some pubs and help new players learn how to play the game. Even though we're going to try and do our best to make the new player experience as good as we can with the resources we have by release, I think a lot of it is built on perception of the community, and I think this has been one of kind of our persistent issues, is that there's this sort of division between people who play pugs and people who are playing pubs, and it's not necessarily that one side is wrong or right. It's just that there's some certain people who like playing the game a certain way, and some that play the game the other way.
Right. And
in general, on release, I'd say the more people we can have playing in public games to give people players to go play against and provide help and that sort of thing, the better. I think it'll do a great service to the community and to Midair and the longevity of the title if we can get as many people as we can playing games right on release. So if you can, as soon as we put out that release date, take a day off work and get ready to come play a bunch of games. It should be a lot of fun. I think having a lot of new players in the game will kind of rejuvenize is that the actual word?
It is now.
We're gonna say rejuvenize. It's time to revenize everything, guys.
I like that. Yeah. So, but other than that though, besides keeping the service full, one thing I could say is that I noticed that I've seen Esprit. I think he's in Discord as Cargo Shorts. He's been releasing these kind of Midair shorts, these minute-long, very stylized, sexy kind of clips that make the game. And at the end, they always end with playmidair.com. So more media. I still need. I haven't really been haggling you guys too much about this, but I still need more clips for a community montage I've been trying to make for a while now. I just don't really have enough material, and I don't want to just fill with my own material, because that's just, I just might as well make a montage. I want it to be community based, and I want as many community members as possible. So I'm just keeping it on the back burner. I'm not trying to rush it to come out, but you know, if you have a hand in, you know, media, if you're good at Photoshop, whatever your strength is, I'd say use that. You know, do use something you're good at or your skill set to kind of promote the game. If you're good at Photoshop, you're good at graphic design, hey, you know, you can make a little graphic, you can make a new signature, make a new logo. If you're good at, you know, video editing, make a little montage, make videos. Anything is good, and anything that, you know, helps show off the game, and you know, anything like that is much appreciated. For some reason, I'm gonna have to restart my game. It's like, yeah, it's you know my computer.
Yeah, actually, I guess, yeah, fully answer the question, because I basically said, when you asked me, besides playing the game, I was like, no, play the game. Yeah, I think, you know, other ways that you can totally help is, you know, get your friends involved. If they're big shooter fans and that sort of thing, then like, you know, say, hey, come check out this game with me, and go, like, teach them how to play. Like, teach them how to play at a higher level than they might otherwise get, you know, just by playing the game for a couple hours. Like, you know, give them the full wax and wash, car wash treatment, you know, right at the beginning. I think that, you know, when people kind of see what it's like to play at a higher level, I think they kind of get it a bit more, you know. So definitely, like, go help people learn to play, and get your friends involved, and all that kind of stuff, and, you know, post on social media, things like that. All that stuff really helps.
Right. Yeah. I mean.
Also participate in community events. Like, if you see somebody, you know, saying, "Hey, you know, looking for a game, playing some TDM," like, jump into that game, and this can happen before release, not just at release, right? Or you know, jump in a pub and you know, even if you're all by yourself, and say, "Hey, I'm playing right now," and like, a lot of times people will join it. Whenever I post in there, I usually get 2 or 3 people join them within about 5 minutes, and you know, some days are a bit quicker than others. But I almost always get a pub whenever I jump in and start playing. So.
Right. I mean, look how quickly we got people. I mean, I don't think that's through the stream. I think people just saw a game and wanted to play. We already have a TDM pub going after, like, what, 10 minutes. So yeah. Donler has an interesting question here. Donler TG, thanks for joining us. Is the recent popularity of high population games like PUBG, Fortnite affecting Midair?
You know, it's an interesting question. I'd say probably not overall right now. I mean, of course, they're a competitor on some level, but truthfully, the people who have backed now, I think that they are, you know, I enjoy Fortnite, but it doesn't stop me from playing Midair. I think a lot of people who are actively playing Midair right now probably aren't necessarily not playing Midair because they're playing Fortnite. I guess there's a question about, you know, our let's say casual users maybe not coming to Midair and that sort of thing. And I'd say, I think of the list of things as to why casual users may not be coming to Midair right now, that one's probably pretty low. You know, our game sort of appeals to a specific kind of player. And if you've been involved in any of the other games in the genre, you probably know why. It's because it's a very unique feeling game. It's got a lot to offer, frankly. But, you know, a lot of kind of casual users, just by their nature, like, you know, when they see a game like this, sometimes think, oh, that's kind of challenging, and it's difficult for me to get into, and if they don't have friends in it, then you know, they may not partake. And on some level, you know, it's possible that because all my friends are all playing Fortnite, I'm not really looking around for new games at the moment. But, you know, in general, I think, you know, games kind of come and go, and you know, there's a few games that kind of stand out as games with huge longevity. Think games like Dota or maybe PUBG is kind of getting close to that at the moment. Although Fortnite is obviously challenging that. League of Legends is a good example. You know, those kind of games sometimes have dynasties, so to speak, but very few games do actually have that. So even if Fortnite is kind of impacting things right now, it may not impact things later. We're certainly going to be in the same competing market, given that we're both going to be free-to-play shooters and kind of have more of I'd say a bright and colorful art style relative to many other games in the market. So there's going to be some obvious points of comparison, but we offer something very different. So I think overall it shouldn't be too much of a problem.
Right. Oh, let's see. Jester McPants asks, will we see 64 versus 64 servers?
Probably not. So when we did Kickstarter, we were saying that our goal is sort of 32, or not 32 versus 32, but 32 total. About 16v16 was sort of our stated big team goal. And you can see, like, none of our maps at the moment would really support a game of 64 versus 64. We could potentially make a map like that. But to do that, there's actually a lot of other technical challenges we would need to solve first. So building something that's 64 v 64 would in general be a pretty expensive proposition. And I would say it's probably not the best use of our funds right now to do something like that. And then the question is, how successful are you and how many other additional funds do you have? And maybe when it comes to something like that, we can start exploring what possibilities there are, but it would sort of require us to be a pretty substantial success to make something like that more feasible for us.
Yeah, not to mention, I don't know if anyone could handle that many versus this many these days. That's like those games, those were huge games. I remember playing some 64 versus 64, and I feel like I didn't know what was going on.
There's certainly some fun that can be had in those kind of games. I mean, I think a lot of the big games that you see like with Battle Royale right now are good examples of kind of where that can go. I think probably Midair 64v64 would be something of decently different characteristics than say Fortnite or PUBG. But I think there's definitely a desire for some like large scale battles like that.
So how much more time do we have, Chris, with you?
Well, it looks like about 5 minutes left to 11, but I don't have a hard stop really. I can kind of hang out a little bit.
Okay. Well, just with that in mind, guys, if you have any questions you haven't asked yet, you can go ahead and throw them in chat, and I'll try and get them, as many of them out as I can in the next 5 or so minutes. But another one from Justin Pants. For now, we have a question saying, will we see a major overhaul of the progression system? It seems tough to dump someone into an LT game when they don't even get the default setup.
So that's kind of a complicated thing. So when you say overhaul, I assume you mean we're completely reworking it, and the answer to that is no. We're not going to completely rework the system. We do have some, I'd say, bigger changes coming to it that you're going to see soon. As far as like making sure people have the default setup when they come to LT, I mean, there's actually a lot of different belief systems around what new players should get first. And we've actually seen this just in talking to people about the progression system. Like, what do you think you should get first? And everyone's giving us a different answer as to what people should get first. The competitive players are giving one thing, and we go talk to new players, they're interested in some other stuff. We talk to more casual players who are active in midair. They think something else. So a lot of the assumptions that people make, when they ask, like, are you doing an overhaul of the system so that they can get this specific thing first? I think there's a lot of kind of hidden assumptions that may not necessarily be true, or at least not for everybody, right? Like some people may not be interested in playing LCTF at all, and should we force them to get the LCTF loadout versus something else? Is a question that we have to ask, because if we force people to play one specific way that they don't want to play, then that's going to turn players away. So really, I think our main goals with this is, give people lots of flexibility to kind of play the way that they want to play. Maybe guide them to some smarter choices at the beginning, or guide them to choices that show off the capabilities of the game, and then let them decide for themselves what is important to them. Because that is something that we've been telling people we've been doing for a long time, is letting people pick the way that they want to play. I guess that's sort of my, again, kind of long-winded answer to your question there.
Play your way, yeah. Let's see. Yes, Cloud, we did go over that.
Actually, real quick, so I want to follow up on something, because Jester did say, overall may be the wrong word, but it's frustrating not to be able to just jump straight in and play. I think he's referring to the fact that, like, if you jump into an LT game and you don't have, like, the grenade launcher or something, then you just don't spawn with it with the default loadout in there. And I think that there's definitely some merit to that. But you also have to remember that that kind of stuff is, you know, with the rate that you get experience points, that may not be a problem, right? Because it's only a problem if you're stuck with that for a long time. Yeah. If it's like your first time, you're just learning to ski and shoot people, you're really not thinking that much about your loadout, to be honest. Like, we've seen this happen time and time again. The first like hour or so that you're playing, unless you know what you're doing, like, unless you played like a tribes game before or legions or something, you're just really exploring how the hell the physics work, and how the weapons actually fire, and how to lead people, and what the heck your base is, and like you're thinking about a whole bunch of other stuff at a different level. Not so much like, do I have the most optimal weapon set, and things like that. So if you're a tribes player and you kind of get into that scenario where you're like, I want to go play light CTF because I know exactly what that is and I haven't had time to unlock everything for it yet, then yeah, you may feel that way. But I'll also say this: if you're that kind of player and you know what you're looking for, it's not going to take you that long to get that loadout ready to go.
Yeah,
and also I did mention earlier too that we'll be exploring some options to kind of guide players into choices that make a bit more sense earlier on, and so we don't have that in right now, but you'll probably see in the next update what some of those changes are.
All right, so.
And I think you were replying to Cloud's question about marketing.
Right. Yeah. Cloud. We did go over that already, and pretty much just where there's a lot of emails and a lot of contacts and kind of reaching out that's being done, and I guess Bugs was saying that it's not like. There is a recognition of the frustration or potential, that kind of curiosity as why the game hasn't been marketed more, but the short of it was basically that it's not the best idea. We didn't feel it was the best idea to advertise or do a big marketing push before the game was in a kind of more of a finalized state. So it kind of
and also clarify that point a bit more. Like, we have finite resources. You know, we're not like a big AAA with an unlimited marketing budget or what feels to be like a really significant marketing budget. So with the money that we have and the time and resources we have to use it really smartly, right? And you know, expending the budget over time to try and increase the player base by a little, just a little bit, right, is not necessarily the best use of funds, or the funds and resources that we have at this time.
Looks like Jester has one last question about if there will be user-generated maps.
Yeah, so we had a Kickstarter goal for user-generated maps, and that was around $300,000, but we did not hit that goal. So we did not have a plan to do that on a release. It actually is a bit of an investment, because we want to make sure that user-created maps are treated in kind of a first-class way, like not just, hey, everyone go to this random website and start downloading unverified zip files onto your computer, or rely on third-party tools to provide a more elegant system to that sort of thing. So if we do it, we want to make sure it has a first-class experience and lots of assets for you to go make great-looking user-created maps as well. And so getting something prepared like that in the way that we like is just a bigger endeavor, and it's something that we said we actually do think is extremely important for a game like ours. It's just, again, one of those kind of pragmatic decisions where we had to say, we can spend all of our resources on that, or build the rest of the content in the game, basically, because it's just an expensive thing to do and maintain. So what I'll say is that we'd love to do something like that after release at some point.
Cool. So it looks like we've pretty much gone through all of the user questions so far. Everyone in chat, unless anyone just joined us, welcome to the stream. We're doing a Q&A with the archetype lead, Bugspray. We've already asked a good number of questions so far, and our time with him is running up. He's a busy man, so if you have anything you haven't asked and wanted to ask, please get it out now. I have one final question, but I'd like to save it till the very end, in the next minute or so. So I think we have one more from Nasty Hobbit. will there be Steam achievements? Specifically one for killing Bugspray in-game.
So we would love to get Steam achievements in. It probably won't happen for release, just because we're focused on some other stuff. But maybe sometime after release we'll get achievements in.
All right. All right. Well, I guess a nice, very roundabout question and very open-ended question for you to finish off this Q&A from me is, going forward, could you share your vision for the game? Where do you see Midair in a year's time?
Wow, so Midair in a year's time is probably going to depend a lot on how well we do on release. Just because building and maintaining a game is an expensive proposition. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna assume that the question you're asking me is assuming success.
Yes.
I'm happy to answer that. So assuming success, we have lots of great ideas for the game, and we just talked about things like a community map making system that gets first-class treatment in our user interface and lets people kind of download new maps and try out new things on the fly. So that's a big one. And I think that would generate a lot of new content for people to kind of go and play around with. We'd love to add more weapons, expand all the different kinds of visuals that you see in the game. So adding more than just a light male, medium female, and heavy male models and that sort of thing, which is kind of a big deal because people identify with different things in different ways. So that kind of stuff, really expanding the packs and augment system, maybe doing reworks of some gameplay systems to keep things fresh. Lots of events and things to keep people interested in the game. New game modes in general, an expansion of all the content that you've seen so far. On release, we're actually gonna have a pretty healthy selection of maps, but spread across a lot of game modes. Like for each game mode, it doesn't you kind of whittle those numbers down a bit. So we'd love to have lots of content for all the game modes and give them all, like I kind of said before, kind of first class treatment. So I think in general, one thing we'd love to do as well is kind of take a big look at vehicles again and make them the best that they can be. Build out their functionality, add more vehicles, add more ways that in the maps and in the game that you can use them and be effective and that sort of thing. Over time, you'll probably see things like balance get a bit more work done. Like we're doing our best to kind of balance things as we can now. But I think you'll probably see the game in general come together a bit more and probably look a bit more polished, have a lot more content, a lot more things that you can do, a lot more ways that you can participate in the community. And I think that long term, there's a lot of opportunity for us to do a lot of really cool stuff. So that's sort of my very vague answer on that.
Yeah, no, it's a hard question. That's why I kind of saved it for the last, and I know it's a tough question to answer. So I guess specifically because I didn't really give a prerequisite for success, which actually Justin McPants is curious about in terms of what is success? What does success look like?
What does success look like? I mean, so I'd say, honestly, a self-sustaining studio that can support an FPS Z title in the way it needs to be supported. We don't need to necessarily be, a big studio or anything to support the game well, but we do need to have consistent income and revenues that people who do work with us and work for us have the ability to, sustain a family and live their life. The way that a lot of the developers, we're a startup on some level, right? We're a startup game studio, and Midair is our first title, and we poured a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, treasure into this thing. But that can only go on for so long before it's unsustainable for the people involved. Right. So we need to make sure that Midair is a resounding success, so that we have enough resources to go and give the game the full treatment. This is, I think what we've done as an indie first-person shooter is pretty impressive. I think we have a lot of great stuff going for Midair, but it is still an indie shooter. And so, if I have my way and our team has our way, then we will grow into a larger studio and can, churn out more quality content all the time, get lots of good players, lots of good interest in the game. And that's good for us. It's good for you. It's good for everybody involved. It's good for the industry to have, good, strong studios out there building good quality content. So I guess that's sort of what I see as success.
Or just if we put a Fedora in game, people apparently will pay $500 for it. So that could be a nice way to generate. I might auction off my Midair beanie with the wings. Maybe I can generate some. I'll take a cut, but maybe I can. Maybe that could raise a couple hundred.
Yeah, well, I think someone said that they would pay for me to shave off my beard again. I think I was dragging some help.
Really.
I think people thought I wouldn't do it last time, but I did it for $1,000.
Yeah, tooth and nail. Yeah, anything it takes.
I regret nothing about that, by the way.
We should maybe do like a recap of some of the video highlight moments, VOD highlights of the past year of Midair. BY05, the 48 hours of Midair, you shaving your beard, just maybe a little highlight reel, Midair top moments. But looks like that is all the questions we're gonna have for today, and we've had some good ones, some tough to answer ones, and so I think I speak for everyone when I say I really appreciate you coming on to answer these questions directly and give people some really good feedback on their curiosities and ponderings. So it looks like I think that will be it.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun, and I got my butt kicked in game a little bit because, like I said, I can only like walk and breathe, or like sit down and breathe and play the game, or talk and play the game but not breathe at the same time. So it was still a lot of fun though, and good to hear you guys asking questions. And sorry if if I sound a little bit unenthusiastic at the moment. It's mostly because we've just been working real hard and real long on making Midair a great game. And it's been kind of a long weekend with all that. So really appreciate you guys showing up and participating. And I think a lot of times we try to say thank you for supporting us and for playing the game and making Midair great with your feedback. And we do really mean it. It's not something that we say that's hollow. I like kind of hanging around all the different places where all the chatter happens, and we get a lot of really great feedback, even if you don't think we're reading it. A lot of times we do read it. So keep it coming, and keep making Midair great, guys. Yep,
sure. I maybe have you or some of the other devs back on too soon. It seems like people like seeing you guys. Know you're human, not just dev bots. So yeah.
If I was a dev bot, man, it'd be. I don't know if I'd be happier. I guess you wouldn't really feel emotion if you were a bot, but it certainly would make probably the long hours a little easier.
Right. So I hope you can get some more food and water, those essentials, and maybe even some sleep. Today or at some point. But I know you had to go to a meeting, so I won't hold you too much longer. But thanks again for coming on, and yeah, I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks very much, man. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. Thanks for hanging out, Jordan, as well. Good to see you guys. I think I'm not really sure how to get out of, I think my game froze, so I can't even use Control Alt Delete. I can't get access Task Manager to even restart it. So I may have to, nothing's working, so I may have to restart Control Shift Escape. Really, I think that'll. Oh yeah, nothing's working. I can't. It's just completely frozen. I try and right click on the bottom bar. It won't close the game. It's been. Yeah, I really don't know. I think I'm gonna have to restart. Get a new PC. I think that's gonna have to be the answer, because it's just, there's so many problems. It's just slowly dying. It's been this, I don't even have a solid state hard drive, guys. I'm not a rich guy. I don't. I really might have to do that. I might have to get a new Origin PC. It might be perfect. Perfect timing for that. I did actually look at their website, and I watched. Actually, if anyone wants to check it out, Origin PC did an interview, their own kind of Q&A with Bugspray a couple months ago, which was really pretty, and their fancy stream. You'll email me an SSD? Wow. No, I need something. Like it's I don't even want to tell you guys what I found in my case the other day when I opened it up to clean it. I feel like maybe that's even more so saying that. So I'm not sure what I'm trying to say right now, but no, he wasn't actually. I was thinking about like doing like a Skype or like not Skype, like Discord or Slack, like so we could have a camera for Bugspray, but frankly, I'm just jealous of his beard, so I didn't really want to have to deal with the competition. I want all eyes on me, and I feel like if there was a video feed of Bugspray up, you guys would all just be staring at the beard and the handsomeness that is that man. So yeah, I didn't want to take away from me. I can't handle the competition. Get more testosterone. So I think I'm gonna have to restart. I'm sorry guys, but I mean I can bring the stream up again. It shouldn't take long, but I'm sorry. Look at your hat. Not an object. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to do it. I'll bring the stream back up though, and stream for another 40 or so minutes, trying to get like a plug-in or something before I gotta go. But with that said, I will be back as soon as I can.